amnesias. Okay? But you may not know when we spot systems thinking. Right? And we're just starting on that now. Every time I mention the word balance, then we're bringing in some ideas from systems thinking. We're bringing ideas in from the systems thinking. Okay, all of us have hands up. I don't know if I should ask. Everyone has a shower, right? We all shower, right? Okay. When you turn, you have a cold tap and a hot tap. Okay. When you turn the shower on, how many of you sometimes you have to adjust the tap to get the right temperature? Hands up. I do. You don't want too hot or too cold. What happens sometimes if you get in, it's just too hot, so you turn the cold on too much, and then it becomes too cold. Anyone experience that? Okay, that's the crux of systems thinking. It's about trying to balance the feedback mechanism, that is your feeling of the temperature of the shower, with your action mechanism, that is adjusting the tap, the hot and cold. And because when you find out what the temperature is, because that's at a different stage from when you're adjusting the tap, it takes a little bit longer to get the right temperature. But if you could actually get that feedback immediately as you adjust the tap, you'd only have to turn the tap on to a certain level at the first time. Okay? Now in the organisation, when something happens, it causes something else to happen. And that causes something else to happen. Right? Now, we're going to talk more about that, but that's what systems thinking is about. Just think of the shower example. Trying to get the right temperature in the shower. I can give you elaborate diagrams, but for now, just think. It just takes a little bit longer to get the right temperature because the registering mechanism, that's the temperature, is separate or delayed from the action mechanism, that is changing the taps. And that's what we're trying to do in the organisations all the time. We are adjusting the taps on the organisation. We are adjusting different levers. 1 year, we change the measurement, and then it takes a week later or a month later or 6 months later to find out what the reaction is. And it could be, sadly for many organisations, a very negative reaction because we have people, they leave. Okay. And often we don't know it's because of a lever that we moved 6 months earlier. Right? That's what we mean by systems thinking. Okay? The systems thinking brings problems to the organisation because there's a delay between our action and the outcome. Okay? And the balanced scorecard is to try and help you balance the consequences of a particular action and to try to give you feedback as you make that action. So it reduces that delay time. It reduces that delay time. So performance measurement in the organisation, one way of reducing the delay time is focusing on the informal, focusing on the training and teaching people to focus towards a particular objective before you move to the formal, where you actually are focusing on the individual rewards for their actions. Okay? And we talk more about that later too. So the financial and customer is the external, and the S in SMS, while the business, production and learning and growth are the internal. Okay, so the balance, if we can balance the external and internal, guess what? It's likely that we may have less adverse consequences down the track. Okay. In the long term, but we know from many organisations it's the short-term priorities that are borne by stakeholders that stop us from focusing on the internal profits. Okay. The constant drive for profits stops us from focusing on fixing the processes or developing the people. And many of you don't feel there's communications about development in this room here. Okay, let's go. I'm going to jump ahead a bit because the priority now is to move into this game that is balancing the corporate scorecard. Okay. Now, yeah, it's in about 15 minutes or 20 minutes there will be a short tea break. So from now until then, what I want you to keep the SMS in mind, because we'll come back to that and we'll actually visit that during the game. Okay? But right now we need to jump into the game, and I'd like you to welcome you as CEO of Centra Software. Centra Software is the company in the game. You have been brought on as CEO because the previous CEO didn't listen to my instructions. I'm the CEO of the holding company of Centra, Gigasoft. I'm the big boss. But I've appointed you to be CEO of Centra Software. And you have to turn around Centra. I want you to deliver the profits, deliver profit growth. And our number one product is a software. We produce software. You will be managing the customer acquisition and customer retention process. In our company, we acquire customers by making the right software for their needs. We acquire customers, that is sales, by making the right software for their needs. And that software is data mining software. And we, in the past, we were famous for our data mining software. We were the number one in the industry for the techies, our main customers of data mining software. But now, thanks to our last CEO, we don't have that niche anymore. We have lost that niche, and I want you to regain that for me. So we need you to focus on the power features. I want you to focus on the power features in developing this software. If you would like, where are we now? Can we, where's Deep? If you click on, okay, there's a little button on your monitor here, input button. If you click on that input button, you will see the balance scorecard. Okay. Now, what I'd like you to do is click on play. New game. I might ask the class to come down the side. Click to continue. That's okay. There should be a little sign saying simulation loading. Simulation loading.
Okay, Doctor. Take the okay. Yeah, take the okay. Take the okay is okay.
As I said, we could spend two days on this, but we're moving into the game as soon as possible so you have more time to just have fun with it. Have fun. You have to make decisions in 6 areas. They are as follows. You have the choice of hiring and firing of customer service representatives, hiring and firing of consultants, product pricing, spending on IT, and spending on training. Guess what? Spending IT and spending on training, let me ask you, which part of the balanced scorecard is that? Internal processes or development? Spending on training. The learning and development, exactly. Now the game, if you want to know, we've just gone ahead so we can move ahead here. Page 21. Page 21. Kerry, you can sit down. Alex, no. Did you want to have a seat? Now, we have, the game is very noisy, so we have headphones. Okay, we have headphones. Now, these headphones were bought in Sumshui Po, so two things. Number one, some of them may not work, but that's all right, we have replacements. Number two, we have some alcohol and tissue if you want to clean them before using them. So that please feel free. We have some alcohol and pass it around, and some tissue. So if you clean it yourself, then you know that it is clean. So you can do that. Let me go back to the game. You have lots. You have only 6 decisions to make. It's very easy. The most difficult part is getting a balance in those decisions. And that's where you will learn more about the systems thinking. And I'll give you an example. One of the balancings in the game is if you want to hire more customer service representatives. Want to hire more customer service representatives. What happens when you get more in on the team? The overall skill level goes down. So you need to rebalance that with training to bring the skill level up. The difficulty in the game is working out, okay, how much extra training do you do to keep that balance? And the indicators in the balance scorecard tell you, their job is to help tell you how much more training to do and how to keep the balance as you go through the game. Some of you have played flight simulators in the old days, going back 15 years, before we had the beautiful videos, Microsoft Flight Simulator. In the early days, the early flight simulators just had a dashboard of the aeroplane, and this is what you'll see here. What I'd like you to do is click on Main Menu, on the Main Menu. In playing this game, you will meet Diane. You'll meet Diane, especially if you cut customers. Hey, why are you cutting my customers? She'll appear on a video. She'll tell you not to do that. But you've got to be careful. You'll be told things, but maybe those things that these people have their own interests at heart, they may be wrong. You might be doing things according to the balanced scorecard, but not in line with what these people are telling you. And I'm sure at some point in the game you'll start to feel, hey, hang on, my organisation sounds like this too when I get communications from my boss or other people. Okay. And especially when the balanced scorecard is telling you to do something different. You'll hear from Grant Hinkson, Vice President of Finance, and Vice President of Product Development, Sloan McIntosh. You'll hear from him, especially if you cut IT spending. Okay. How do we expect the firm to grow and operate with outdated equipment like this? Okay. So you need to be careful about whether you cut IT spending, things like that. And also Vice President of Marketing. You all told me the customer is very important in your firm. Alice, the customer important in your firm? Yes.